Robert Gordon Marshall, more commonly known to those around him as Bobby, was born October 20th, 1932, to parents Gordon and Violet Marshall in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Being the youngest of 7 siblings, Bobby lived a very active childhood, something that has shaped his life thus far. He grew up on a family cattle farm in Sault Ste. Marie, a small town in northern Ontario, with a current population of 70,000. At the height of the farm's success, the family had about 100 cows, which meant lots of farm work was involved in Bobby's daily life growing up. Physically demanding chores such as feeding, stall cleanup, and other farm maintenance tasks kept Bobby and the rest of his siblings busy during most days after school. However, Bobby was still active outside of farm life, spending many nights after school playing unorganized sports with his siblings and other neighborhood kids in the schoolyard. The neighborhood kids mostly played 2 sports, hockey in the winter and baseball in the summer. Bobby definitely remembers that hockey was his favorite sport growing up. Often, the kids would play against other districts within the city, mostly on outdoor rinks at the schoolyard. Being the true country kid that he is, Bobby recalls that his team was always the rougher team, and back then they didn't have any fancy equipment such as gloves or helmets. As he got older, Bobby played for the Baseline Flyers, a local hockey team right near his school, and while he claims he wasn't a goon, he remembers that he ended up getting into a few fights during games. Baseball was mostly played in the schoolyard during the spring and summer, when all the ice had melted and often wasn't as competitive. Bobby often played back catcher and pitcher, as he was the smallest and youngest on his team of older siblings and classmates. During the summer break, Bobby remembers spending time participating in leisure water activities at the family camp, including swimming and canoeing. Because Bobby comes from such a large family, he often never played individual sports, as there was always a couple of siblings around who were more than willing to participate in a game or activity. Being from cold northern Ontario, leisure activities in the winter for Bobby often included snow-dependent activities, such as cross-country skiing and snowshoeing, which Bobby and his siblings would often do in the forest behind the farm. When Bobby was roughly 5 years of age, he unfortunately got into an accident that resulted in complete loss of vision in his right eye. However, he has little recollection of the incident and claims it doesn't have much of an effect on his daily life or physical activity, and that he adapted pretty quickly. As Bobby got older, he married and built a house just a 3-minute drive down the road from his family's farm. Although by now Bobby had quit playing sports, he still remained very active with yard work, such as mowing the lawn, piling wood, and making sure the wildlife around his house were well fed. During his working life, Bobby worked as a dump truck driver and then as a yard maintenance worker at the Sault Ste. Marie Airport, 2 jobs that were very physically demanding. Every fall, Bobby would participate in a guy's trip to go hunting up north, usually for partridge or moose, which also kept him very active. As Bobby aged, he never became less involved in sport. However, his role changed from participating in sports to instead watching sports. He remembers watching his son Dan play hockey growing up. Later in life, he also was a frequent spectator at his 2 youngest granddaughters' hockey and soccer games, although hockey was still the favorite to watch. Additionally, Bobby began watching professional sports on TV more often, usually watching hockey, as he's a huge Penguins fan, much to the family's dismay. Bobby's current favorite hockey player is Sidney Crosby, as he thinks he's an all-around great player. In the off-season, Bobby often watches baseball, and he really likes that smoke guy on the Toronto Blue Jays. As a retired senior, Bobby still remained active with daily yard work, a task which most of us dread, but he enjoys. Unfortunately, due to a cancer diagnosis in April, Bobby noted that he hasn't been feeling his greatest and has noticed that his physical activity level has decreased as a result. However, he has recently moved into a retirement home and is hoping to join a physiotherapy program offered at the home to regain some of the strength he's lost, as he is now in remission and feeling much better. When asked what physical activity means to him, Bobby acknowledged that the term has meant different things to him throughout life, as when he was a child, he defined physical activity as playing sports, but as he's gotten older, defines it as being able to keep up with the activities of daily living. He also feels that healthcare has greatly improved throughout the course of his life, as he's been told that if his accident would have happened today, his eyesight would have been saved in his right eye. When asked how he defines successful aging, Bobby says that to age successfully, you need to work to keep your independence, keep up with physical work, have a good diet, and of course, drink tons of beer. For those who don't know, Bobby is actually my grandfather and someone I consider to have a major influence on my life. It was very interesting to see his output on life and just his views on aging overall.